Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, guys. And in this video, I will be watching the interview that Prithviraj gave on Galata Plus to Baradwaj Rangan. And there are a couple of other interviews of Prithviraj that he has given as part of the promotions of his for his upcoming film Aadujeevitham. That we are all excited for its release next week. So there's one in FC. This one is there. So I just chose it randomly, guys. The FC one obviously is 1 hour, so I'm sure it's more detailed. I'm not sure though if I'll react to it or I'll watch it on my own. But this one, at least for starters, I thought when I'm watching it, because I have not watched any of his interviews till now. So this is the first one. And so I thought, yeah, better just react to it, right? So yeah, let's not delay this any further. Let's watch this interview right away.
Hello, Prithviraj. Welcome to Galata Plus.
Thank you.
And this is a much anticipated film.
Yes.
But I just want to begin with an observation. When Benjamin, who wrote Aadujeevitham, when he contacted Najeeb, whose character you're playing in this movie, he contacted this guy and he said, "Okay, I read this news item about you, and I want to, write something about you." He did not want to say that story because he had undergone such trauma.
Yeah.
He did not want to live through it again.
Yeah.
But ironically,
I completely understand that.
that story came out, the book became a bestseller, and lakhs of people read it. And now it's going to become a movie, and many more people are going to watch it. So the story that he did not want to share is now, it's just going to go around the world.
Yeah.
I find that very, very, very strange. It's like a...
Yeah.
You know what, it's understandable because I think someone like Najeeb, when he eventually made it out of this experience, which in itself is incredible.
Right.
I can understand that there must have been a sense of shame that, I had to live through this. And I understand the fact that he would not want to talk about it.
Right.
Of course, there's a trauma. Of course, there's not wanting to live through all the memories once again. And like I said, maybe there was a sense of shame that I made a wrong choice.
And also for those people, I'm sure a lot of you probably have read the book and know the story. But from whatever you guys have told me and what I've seen of the trailer, there's so many things in our own lives that we don't want to recall. We call them as like bad memories and stuff. So, living through a huge trauma, I completely understand that why a particular person does not want to like narrate it or live through it again, because I mean those scars, at least I feel that wounds heal, but those scars really don't go away. That's what I feel. You guys might have a different perspective or take on it, so do let me know.
Choice, and my life took a turn that I'm not proud of. But I also think he must have realized once he started speaking about it,
Right.
that this is something he must be extremely proud of. To be able
Okay.
to have gone through this, to be able to have fought through this,
Right.
to be able to have come out at the other end of this, and then be able to tell the tale is a superhuman achievement.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming today he's proud of the fact that, he actually lived through the experience and he made it to the other end, and that he's able to tell the story, and that there's a film being made on his life.
Yeah.
Like I said, another fellow journalist yesterday, one of the biggest gratifying moments for me as an actor is when he saw the footage and he kept repeating, "Ella orma onnu voy sir, ella orma." Like,
All the memories are...
yeah. So I mean, I understand what it must be for him. So yeah, it's strange, like you said, that the phenomenon is probably taken a completely opposite direction to where it started off from.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that it is happening, and I'm hoping, and I think I know partly that Mr. Najeeb is also very proud of the fact that the world today looks at him as an inspiration.
Right. And it's like a, in a weird way, this film, of course, you're playing Najeeb in this film. This film, in many ways, it's about time. It's about the time that Najeeb spent in the desert.
Yeah.
It's about the time it took to make the movie,
Yeah.
which is like this incredible time, right? It's about the time since Blessy made his last movie in 2013, which is Kaliman.
Yeah.
So there's, I don't want to sound mystical or anything like that, but do you think some movies have their own destiny?
Oh, definitely. I believe all films have their own destiny. And for some film, the journey to
I mean,
eventually meeting that
just letting you know, like while watching this only, it's not even like it's just 3 minutes 30 seconds into this interview, and just the fact that the first question that he asked, and he's talking about Najeeb and uh, Prithviraj playing that character, and like how he did not want his story to be known, and now everybody, so many people are going to know it. And for me, I have told you multiple times during the trailer also, I'm just going to cry so much. I already know it. It's just that I know it. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah.
that destiny is just is just a little more complicated than others. In all honesty, none of us anticipated that it was going to be a 16-year-long process.
Right.
Yeah.
But we knew that it was not going to be a 6-month-long process,
Right.
like a usual
course.
Malayalam film back in those days. When we started on the process of making the film, Blessy and me thought it's going to be a 2-year-long process, and 2 years is a reasonable time frame to try and pull off something like this. And in all honesty, eventually when we were able to start filming in 2018, our entire scheduling was within 24 months. You know, we would shoot the Kerala portions, then we would go to Jordan and shoot the first desert schedule where I had put on weight. And then we would break for, I think, 8 months was the plan.
Lose weight and
Yeah, no, then do the winter of the weight loss schedule, then do the summer, then do the winter and then shift to, it was supposed to be Egypt back then, not Algeria. Shift to Egypt and shoot the escape, and then come back to Kerala and finish
Right.
the end portions, the prison portions and everything, which was a 2-year plan, and it was reasonable. But unfortunately, the pandemic struck, and then we had to suspend the shoot for a year and a half. And things changed in terms of permissions and how
Yeah.
the international regulations were acting at that point in time for film crews to travel. So we, instead of Egypt, we then went to Algeria to shoot the escape. And my God, what a fantastic decision it turned out to be. Because the terrain that we eventually got to shoot in, it was a little off a place called Timimoun in Algeria, right in the middle of the Sahara Desert. To my knowledge, I don't think another film crew has ever been there. And I can understand why, because it's very, very tough.
Okay.
But the terrain is just unbelievable. In the end, it turned out to be a good decision. But then we shot in Algeria, we came back to Jordan, we finished what we could not finish when the pandemic had struck.
Damn.
Then we came back to Kerala, finished the film. So it became like a 4-year-long shooting process.
Right.
At the end of a 10 to 12 year long, ideating process and trying to
Yeah.
get the project rolling. Then followed by another year and a half of post production.
Right.
So it just became like a part of all our lives. I said this a lot yesterday that when I had said yes to the film, I wasn't married. I was not a father, obviously. I had not turned producer. I had not turned
So
director.
much has
I
happened.
wasn't a distributor. My life has changed across 16 years so much. And the one constant that was always there was this one film. And when I say constant, so many instances of me being in some part of the world doing something completely not connected to this film, and I might just zone out and suddenly think, oh, so what would have happened at that time, when Najeeb did that? What would I be thinking of? And the strangest thing is, I don't think that is going to stop even after the film releases.
Right. It's such a big part of your life.
It's
Because I don't
now
think my brain is now wired
incorporated.
to tell myself that, okay, I can stop thinking of Najeeb because film is done. I think 10 years from now, I'll still be somewhere and might zone out and think of, oh, so that day when he
Ingrained
did
in
that,
the
what would have
DNA.
happened? It's just an incredible journey, and I'm not sure I'll have the privilege of going through this process once again in my life as an actor. And I don't know how many actors have ever had the privilege of doing this.
Right, right. No, so you're saying that every film has its own destiny.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this film is a peculiar example, right? But what about something like Emperor, which you're directing right now? What is the destiny element in that?
So, see, I'll have to take you back to Lucifer for that. Murli Gopi, the writer, and me were working together in a film as co-actors called Tian, which was extensively shot in Ramoji Rao Film City
Okay.
in Hyderabad. And the shooting got stuck in the middle of torrential, unexpected rain for almost a month in Hyderabad. And we were stuck, I think, for almost 100 days there. Every day we would think we'd be able to shoot. And we had put up this set
Stuck
of a
for
big
100
village
days?
just outside, which is now called Ramojirao Phase 2, I think, just outside the gates, that side, the other side of the film city. And it would rain, and unfortunately, we never knew till it started raining that where the set had been put up, that if it rains for 10 minutes, you are knee-deep water.
Oh.
And then we would have these huge motors come in, drain the water away. It was a film called Tian. The film didn't do well, but I really absolutely love the idea behind the film.
Yeah.
So Murali and me had a lot of time of just sitting in our rooms and doing nothing. And as is the
That's
case
how
with
the
most
story
of
got
my
ideated?
conversations, and as I've now discovered most of Murali's conversations, it's mostly about cinema. Cinema, world politics and all that. So we used to just keep pitching our ideas and dreams about cinema, and he used to keep telling me that there is this thing that I have in mind that at someday I would love for Mohanlal to do, and he told me this idea. So then we started talking about how could that idea be expanded, what kind of a film it could be, and he's the one who asked me, "Will you direct this?" And I'm like,
Unbelievable.
yeah, I mean, I want to direct a film sometime. Yeah, sure, why not? And he's the one who called Anthony Perumbavoor, my producer, and told me that, Prithvi would like to direct that idea I had pitched to, I have in mind for Mohanlal sir. I frankly thought Anthony Perumbavoor and Mohanlal sir would dismiss it as a joke. But the genius that Anthony Perumbavoor is, the next day morning he lands up in Ramojirao Film City and he says, we are doing the film. And before I have time to think it over,
I mean, if this is not destiny, then what is? You tell me, guys.
Mohanlal sir has put an FB post, saying I'm doing this film. It's a very special film. Son of Sukumaran Chetna is directing, and son of Gobi Chetna is writing, and it suddenly became like the biggest news back then. And then the pressure was on me because everywhere I used to go, people used to ask me, "When are you doing Lucifer? When are you doing Lucifer?" And it eventually happened. And back then, when I did Lucifer, it was the most expensive film to have been pulled off in Malayalam, and we had no clue like how much, what kind of revenue, if we would be able to make this money back. And I'm sure as the filming was going on, my producer and even Mohanlal sir must have been thinking, man, can this guy pull this off? It's just a giant film, and can this guy pull this off? But see, it sort of coincided with streaming rights making a grand entry into Malayalam cinema.
Right.
Just before Lucifer.
Wow, this is really destiny.
Yeah,
This-
just before the release of Lucifer is when
like
Amazon-
I am hearing the story and I'm like, bro, this is so unreal to even, comprehend in a way, like how things just fall into place if they have to fall into place. Like the end result, the process, during the process it might be like, oh, this is this happening, something not working out, this and that, and so many obstacles coming in. But when you see the end result, and in the hindsight, when you think about those things, probably you say, yeah, everything worked out just how it was supposed to work out. I mean, I don't know how much you guys believe in these things or not, but I do have my faith in that. So you guys can let me know your thoughts.
Amazon decided that they are going to make a splash in Malayalam.
Right.
And what used to be 75 lakhs to a crore for streaming rights of Malayalam cinema, let's just say we got somewhere in the vicinity of 15 times that,
Okay.
And it was a shocker to the whole industry. And suddenly the film made sense. Suddenly the film made
Viable,
sense.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even back then we knew that to complete the whole story, it would have to be a 3-film franchise, which we never announced till the 50th day success function of Lucifer, but Murali and me knew.
Yeah.
But we also knew that there was no point in talking about it unless Lucifer is a smash hit, because we would have to rely on the goodwill of a potential super hit to be able to pull off what is the next part
Right.
of the franchise. Luckily, the film, did well. It happened. And then again, Empuran should have happened pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
if not for all that had happened to the world. And now I'm thinking, if it had happened pre-pandemic, it wouldn't have been done the way it is being done right now. The story requires the film to be shot across the world,
Right.
In multiple locations. And I don't know if I would have had access to all these places and people 5 years back.
Right.
Over the last 4 to 5 years, the world has started looking at Indian cinema differently.
And even
So to
Malayalam
put it in
cinema, like
perspective,
I would say, uh, during pandemic and post pandemic, uh, just the way everybody's eyes have opened to the world of Malayalam cinema, and that has been a huge game changer for this particular industry. And for someone like a visionary like Prithviraj, that's like the biggest win for him, because he just thinks like, he is a guy who thinks whatever, and now I have known of him and this, his vision is always 20 plus years. That's where he's looking. Like, this is where I want to take it. Like 20 years ahead of from the present time, this is what my vision is for the industry, for cinema, for Malayalam cinema. So, yes.
perspective, if I email London Transport and tell them I'm an Indian filmmaker and I want to close off Waterloo Circle to, to shoot a scene for a film, they now understand that it is not just Bollywood. They understand that, oh, okay, there are other industries and they are also equally big, and they're open to a meeting and discussing the possibilities, which I don't know if that would have happened 5 years back.
Right.
So again, that's a destiny, right? I mean, that the film is happening now in the fashion that is happening right now, and the way that we are able to do it now would not have been possible.
Right.
So yeah, each film has its own destiny.
Yeah, I mean, that was beautifully explained. You talked about the costs and OTT rights and things
Yeah.
like that, right? One of the things that keeps coming up in Aadujeevitham discussions is that at that point, it was not possible or viable to mount a film of this scale
No.
in Malayalam cinema. What was the primary cost in the movie? I mean, I'm assuming it's the locations and other thing, but I'm saying that was it not possible to cheat, like go to Rajasthan and cheat
Yeah.
like they do for so many films, right? So
We can also do this inside a studio.
right,
Yeah, we can do this using,
Green screen.
proper motion capture, with an Unreal Engine. We can do it against LED screens, and the kind of talent that we have, technical talent that we have in Malayalam, we can make it look amazing.
Right.
But it was a decision that we will not go down that route.
Right.
That we will shoot this organically. We will have the elements interact with the actors.
Right.
It was a decision that Blessy made back in 2009 itself. And you are
And
interesting.
for me, I feel that, I don't know, the opinions can totally differ, because the technological advances are so high now that, like he said, it could have been shot in a room also, and with the technical prowess of the people, it would have looked fine. But my point is that I always feel that the impact that a real location gives, set cannot. That's my thought. You guys can let me know. Like, if you just see the trailer for Aadujeevitham, it looks unreal. Like, unreal. That's where I stand with real versus set locations, but you guys can let me know.
Interesting that you should ask me about Rajasthan. Yes, the initial idea was that we do the main Masara set, which is a big chunk of the desert portions, in Jaisalmer. And you will not believe, I don't know how many people know the story. So the problem with shooting in India was only this, that we don't have that specific breed of sheep or camel in India. So we bought 250 sheep and I think 20 camels from Saudi Arabia.
wow,
And they were brought to the Jeddah port to be transported to India in a ship. And we had extensive discussions with the animal husbandry department in India. And at one point, we were led to believe that it is going to be possible. After we finished our first Kerala schedule is when we got the communication from the animal husbandry department, I think, saying that
It's
you
not
can't do
possible.
it because there are regulations in place, quarantine regulations in place, you can't bring livestock in. So then that idea got, and you won't believe it, the set work had started in Rajasthan. And then suddenly we are thinking, oh my God, we can't, without those animals are such an integral part of the
Right.
film that without them you can't shoot.
right,
So then there was this last moment scurrying. We had already, Blessy had already gone to Morocco, Oman, UAE, many countries. And he was just not happy. Then there was a last moment scurry between Egypt and Jordan and all these places. And finally we realized Jordan is a place to go because the livestock is available, the topography is available. That's how it ended up being an entirely foreign shoot. And the cost involved is not just finding the locations and shooting in those places. Okay, you found the locations, you finally know where you're shooting, you've got all your things in place. Now the process of shooting. Now anyway you're mounting a film like this, you're dreaming of a film like this. So then you have to, the most important part of the whole process is shoot it right, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you shoot in desert, one of the most important aspects of filming in desert topography under natural light is of course the light. So we were very particular that if there is an early morning scene, we will only shoot it in early morning. And sunrise light, so to speak, in the desert is about 20 minutes because there is that light that happens in the sky and on the dunes
So
just
interesting.
as
I
the sun
love
is
this
coming up.
conversation.
Once it is up, then it's bright. So you have about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So if there is a sunrise scene, we would shoot it at sunrise across 25 days. If there
This
is
almost sounds like the
Oh.
desert equivalent of Magic Hour.
Yes, actually, yeah, and there's a magic hour in the evening also, and it is very different to the magic hour in other terrains. I know that because I've spent so much time there. And if there is a scene where, if there's a scene where it's about thirst, right, and you need to feel like the sun is really beating down on this man.
So it's going to be shot
And,
at that time.
And we've decided, okay, we want to shoot this when the sun is right on top, so that the your eyebrow casts a shadow on your face, and so it's about, let's say, about 12 to 2 is the time. We would shoot it from 12 to 2 across 20 days.
Right.
So
My God.
very few films have had the
My
luxury and more
goodness.
importantly the conviction behind them to do it this way.
I swear, I cannot stress this enough, guys. I'm gonna bawl my eyes out. And I feel that more than that, like it's gonna make us so emotional, but oh, it's going to make us so uncomfortable. Like I feel that my skin is going to crawl into my bones. Like it's gonna dig into my bones because when I see from the trailer only, I can just make out how difficult of a watch it is going to be just to see Prithviraj or the character that he's playing, Najeeb, to see this person struggle and try to survive. Oh God. Guys, just thinking about it is giving me just the chills. Yeah. Wow.
This way.
Right.
That is where we spent the most money.
Right.
The most money was spent in shooting it
Shooting,
right.
right,
Yeah. And I think it shows. I hope people also think that it shows.
Right. Now, when I type in Prithviraj and Aadujeevitham in Google,
Yeah.
I get results all the way back to 2017, 2016, where you're talking about, oh, next time doing this movie, next time doing this
Actually,
movie.
if you search harder, you will get it from 2009.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you've said is, you were asked how you're going to play Najeeb, right? And you said the character's conception always belongs to an actor. So I always hope that I get it right. I will have Najeeb in my head. I will speak to him. How did you end up speaking to Najeeb, and how did you end up acting as this man who has nobody to react to his actions?
Yeah. So obviously, when you get the opportunity to play a real life character, and when that character is still alive and well and amongst us, the first instinct is right. You meet the person, and
Yeah.
you talk to him,
Yeah.
and you see if there are mannerisms you want to try and pick up. Bless you was the first one to tell me no. Don't
Oh.
do that. It came from the
Oh.
director. I have to give him credit for this.
Okay.
He said, don't do
Interesting.
that. He said, you've read the book, right? And now you've read the screenplay. So you're intelligent enough to understand what has that process been? What have we tried to do? So you can't make a feature film out of the entire book called Aadujeevitham, because literature, of course, has a liberty of micro-detailing.
Yeah.
The entire
course.
book would mean a 10-hour long film. And also, more importantly, you cannot challenge the reader's imagination. Right? You can't challenge a reader's imagination in the sense that you can't tell a reader that, no, the masara you saw is wrong. This is the actual masara. You can't do that. What can you do? You can attempt to make the audience feel what you imagine Najeeb must have felt.
Right.
And Blessy had extensive
They are
conversations with
just
Najeeb
so
on what
smart.
did you feel? Enda Tonia, what did you feel? Each day, what did you feel? And Blessy's created a character arc from what he thinks, he's imagined, he's understood, Najeeb must have felt. And then he left it to the actor's interpretation. He told me, no, you create a Najeeb.
Oh.
You won't believe this. The first time I spoke to Najeeb is after canning the last shot of Aadujeevitham. I canned the last shot of Aadujeevitham. We had invited Najeeb to the location that day. Blessy called cut and wrap. I walked over behind the camera. He was there.
You're
I met
kidding
him
me.
and I spoke to him, and we have recorded that conversation. We have actually shot that conversation, which I think we should be releasing very
Oh,
soon.
I have to, like, I'm
And one of
waiting
the
for
most
it.
profound moments I had was Najeeb. I think now he's beginning to speak more openly, and he's now being able to articulate the experience better. But he wasn't somebody who could speak very freely. So it took a while for me to, get him to speak. But one of the most profound experiences I had was I specifically asked him about 5-6 instances. What were you thinking of? Actually, what was going through your mind? And it was almost a spiritual level connection when he told me things, and I realized, oh my God, I thought the same thing.
Wow.
I thought the exact
Thank
same
God.
thing. I asked him, did you contemplate suicide? And he said, yeah, I did. And I said, what kept you from doing it? I mean, this is a deeply personal question to ask someone, right?
Yeah.
And what he told me was like, there's a scene in the film, and I said, my God, I was thinking the same thing. So when we were shooting, I have to thank Blessy. We shot this in a way where Blessy would many times tell me, so I'm not going to call cut.
Right.
When you feel you're done, you let us know.
Right.
Many times we have shot like that. This photograph you see behind you, that one particular photograph is a scene that we shot that way.
Right.
So they would roll the camera, and I would take my time, and I would just sit there and I'd think, what must have that man been thinking? And I'd imagine this is what he must have been thinking, and I'd just do what then happens.
Right.
And then, after a while, there'd be somebody, okay, so can we cut? And it'd be like that. So many instances when Najeeb spoke to me, I realized I got that right.
Right.
And I can't take credit for it. Must have been some form of divine intervention where I was being shown the correct direction for the character. But that was a profound experience for me. Yeah.
Right. Now, when you have this, this book, because you're speaking about Najeeb, but it's actually Benjamin who initiated or showed Najeeb's world to the world at large, right? Now, in the book, there's so much of Najeeb's mental monologue, or whatever you call it, there are these passages where he's thinking about the death of a pregnant sheep.
Yeah.
There are these passages where he's thinking about how the desert has decided to, do such things to him and things like that.
I need to
There's
get
very
hold of this book,
surreal,
guys.
kind of, almost like a mirage-like things.
Yeah.
How do you convert those very bookish? How did Blessy convert those very bookish kind of things into cinema?
A scene,
if you could just give like a
basically.
light example.
So, very good question actually, because the first draft of Aadujeevitham that Blessy had written had a lot many, if you know, there's a left of the script and a right of the script, do the new generation filmmakers still write that
I
way?
don't know, but
Yeah.
I know it's Malayalam cinema. Pushkaran writes that way.
I do.
Yeah.
I like having a left, and so whenever I write something, I like
Dialogue
having
and action.
Yeah, I like the left, the description and the dialogues separately on the right side of the page. So the left had so many monologues, and in the second draft, many of those monologues were on the right, as though I'm sitting there and just sort of telling myself. So at one discussion, one of the lengthiest discussions, disagreements, one among the thousands of fights Blessy and we've had, is I said, no, I'm not saying the monologues. And Blessy said, okay. And see, that's a great thing about him as a filmmaker. He will never tell you no. He'll ask you why. So I am saying that, yeah, you have to accept the fact that you've written it here as a monologue because you don't have a better way of devising this emotion to be conveyed without actually voicing it. He said, yeah. He said, so how do you think we can do it? I said, I'm not going to claim I'm a good enough actor to be saying all this without saying anything, but we have to figure a way.
Somewhere in the middle ground.
So many instances of the film, you will just see and feel and hear silence. And the camera is just on my face, and I'm hoping that I've been able to convey what is in his mind. Yeah, what is in his mind.
Very
And like
interesting.
I've said this
Very, very,
repeatedly
very
again
interesting.
for all the media interactions I've had, it is a very complex character arc to be looking at as one big singular piece. So Blessy and me had we agreed upon one thing, that we will have to break it down. So there is information that you give the audience, as in who was he before he reached the desert? What did he leave behind?
Right.
What did he do, back home? So that information comes in the form of small segments of flashback in between the first half. But other than that, the main chunk of after reaching the desert, that character arc, we decided that it had to be sort of broken down.
Right.
And we broke it down into 3 phases. One is, so initially we kept saying it will be 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. But now we have not demarcated it so specifically. But in my mind, it is that. That he reaches in the desert, the first 3 weeks, where he's fighting the circumstances, he's in denial. No, he is thinking, no, this can't be happening to me, and he's trying to convince whoever he sees around him that no, this is a mistake. I was not supposed to come here. I was supposed to go to another company for work, and this is a mistake. I need to go. So the denial, the 3 weeks of denial. So there, the performance arc is different, right? He's trying to fight all the circumstances.
Right.
He's trying to somehow, he's still telling himself that this is not real. This is not where I'm meant to be. And then you break the narrative and you see him 3 months later,
Okay.
where now he's lost a bit of weight. He's gone darker because he's under the sun all day.
Yeah.
His hair has grown, his beard has grown, and he's angry. He's angry at the circumstances around him. He's
It's
angry
like
at
those
himself
5
for having
stages of
made the
grief.
decision of coming. He's angry at God, most importantly.
And he's a very firm believer. You know,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So, in fact, there is a scene where I don't even think the dialogue was written. I think it was just came out like that. In that anger phase, where for the first time, when the water truck comes, after a long while, after 3 months, he gets to see himself in the rear view mirror of the truck. And that's when he realizes how much he's changed.
That I think it's that
And
scene which is also in the trailer where he's looking at himself, and I think so. That's the scene he's
he's
talking
sitting
about.
on a sand dune and he's just blabbering and he's saying, he's sort of trying to make sense, like how long has it been? Like he's lost sense of time.
Yeah.
Like how many days has it been? Like if the beard has grown so much, like when did I reach? Because after a point you lose sense of day, night, week, everything. And then he's about to call God, he's about to say Allah, and he stops. And he realizes, for what?
Then the
What am I
anger
calling him for?
also builds
And
up.
if there was a God, I wouldn't be here. What am I calling him for? And that anger seeps in. So there's the face of anger, where the performance is like that, and the portrayal is like that. Then the narrative breaks at one point, and you see him 3 years later, where now he's become one among the elements. He's become one among the animals. He's almost lost his ability to articulate. He's almost lost his ability to communicate in a spoken language. He's only speaking to the sheep and the camel.
Right.
And when you see him amongst the sheep, he seems like one of them. And he's now developed characteristics like he blinks a lot,
Right.
which is something I picked up. So I said this yesterday again for the press meet. When I went there for the first schedule, 2019 beginning, the Fat Desert schedule, we were shooting one night, one particular sequence, and I was looking around and I realized everyone is blinking like this. The director, cameraman, crew, everybody, they're blinking like this. So we had these Bedouin animal trainers to take care of the animals, and I realized they're also blinking. And for
Okay.
them, and the difference being, the Indian crew were blinking like it was a problem. They were sitting there and doing that as though it is just a normal thing to do. So I remember talking to this man, and so he was the one Bedouin guy who could speak a bit of English. So he from what he told me, what I understood is that it is something everyone does, because in the desert your eyes dry up, very soon.
Okay.
So you keep blinking to keep them moist, and for them now it's become like a
Second
subconscious thing to
nature.
do. So that's something I built into the performance, that when you see him 3 years later, he's constantly blinking, almost like a nervous twitch.
Right.
So that is a point of the performance arc where he's almost at a spiritual plane where now he's come to terms with the fact that this is something I have to live through.
Right.
There is no point fighting it. I cannot be angry anymore because anger
Acceptance.
is just meaningless
5
now.
stages of
And
grief.
regardless of however long this is, I'm just going to live this. I'm just going to experience this day after day after day. And whatever is on the other side, it could be death, it could be escape, it could be salvation. I am going to welcome it with open arms.
Right.
So you meet that kind of a man. So these 3 phases are the 3 phases in the performance arc. And this was a design that Blessy and me landed on like before we left for Jordan. Because after we finished all the flashback, I remember Blessy telling me, we need to sit. And he's very honest that way. So I remember him telling me, I don't know how to chart this, so let us talk, let us sit and talk. And it is such a joy for an actor to sit with a filmmaker, and an amazing filmmaker, and to discover the film together, to discover the process together. I don't think I've had the privilege of doing that for any film, including my own films.
Yeah. The music is by A.R. Rahman.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite track in the movie and why?
So, see, I'm going to take you back to what I told you about the film and the character, that it's just a lot of silence, right? It's just a lot of silence. And sometimes what happens with films that have so much of silence and that are trying to create a mainstream narrative within something so, niche as this, the music can become
Sorry, I'm sure it has released, but I have not checked it. The running length of the film, I would like to know.
overbearing. Now, what Rahman sir has done is absolute magic. I've had the privilege of working in 2 films where he's lent music to. One is Ravanan, of course. The other one is Kavya Talaivan. But when I was on my way back from Los Angeles after finishing one schedule of my directorial, from my Dubai connection, when I got into the aircraft, I saw him. He was sitting next to me, and I'm seeing him after a long time. The first thing I told him is, I so wish I had the score when I was acting, because he is almost A.R. Rahman sir as a character in the film. So how he's understood and cracked that thing of where does the music scape have to be from God's perspective? Where does it have to be from the director's perspective? Where does it have to be from the character's perspective? It's just absolute magic. I love what he's done for the film. And I know that by now the songs are a smash hit, at least in Kerala. I don't know what's happening in other places. In Kerala, people are loving the songs. They love Periyone. I also love Periyone. They love the love song, which is
I've not heard Biryone yet. I've not heard the entire jukebox. I know it's released. I have reacted to one song only, Hope Song. That's the only song that I know, and I've seen Biryone, like it keeps popping up on my feed, but I have to react to it. I've heard really, really good things about that song.
complex melody, which actually, it takes you back to Rahman sir's Roja days, because I sort of, there's a lot of Chinna Chinna Ase and all in it. It's like one of those pristine, not just a tune, the sounding, and the song is in water. For somebody who does not know that,
that
you
water
listen to the
shot.
song, you'll sense water, you'll sense moisture, and that's the genius of the man. But my absolute favorite thing about the music in the film is the background scoring.
Okay. Not a song as such.
I love all the songs. It's a background scoring. And there is a point in the film where the song called Periyone kicks in.
Right.
It's just, for me, it's just amazing.
Gooseflesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Malayalam cinema is going through this great year.
Yeah.
Tremalu, Manjumal Boys, Brahmayugam.
Brahmayugam.
Is there any either nervousness or pressure about the box office of this film? Because this is, and I'm not asking because every film you wonder how people are going to receive it and all that. But because this is such a special film.
See, if at all anything, I should be thankful to all of those filmmakers and everyone involved with those films, because everyone is now talking about Malayalam cinema. Right? Everybody is talking about Malayalam
People
cinema.
are always talking about Malayalam.
Yeah, but I mean, what has happened over the past 1 month has not happened, at such regular intervals ever before. Like we've had a Manjumal Boys that is probably a bigger hit outside Kerala than in Kerala. I don't know the exact numbers, but I have been led to believe that the Tamil Nadu collections are as big or even bigger than, than Kerala. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
and what's happened outside of India, and with Premalu doing so well in Telugu, and now I think Tamil is releasing, Brahmayugam creating so much of conversation around how the film was made, and of course Mamuka's performance. Generally, I think now over the past 1 month, everybody is now looking at Malayalam cinema, and the next big film that's coming is The Goat Life,
Right.
Aadujeevitham. Thank you so much for creating that that stage,
That space.
yeah, for the film. I'm just happy that this has happened just before Aadujeevitham has happened, and I'm wise enough and experienced enough to know that I stand to hugely benefit from what these films have done.
Right.
So no, I'm not. There's no pressure. If at all there is anything, it's a sense of thankfulness. Box office, yes, that's what we have made this film for. Because the film is such, there's a lot of conversation around, awards, that, you have to send it for awards, for international awards. Well, it would be nice. It would be nice to be recognized. But ultimately, I would any day pick Aadujeevitham being a blockbuster than any award, because that is what we made the film for lakhs and lakhs of people to come to the theaters. And everyone says this about the film. Make no mistake, this is a big screen film.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen the trailer that is now out 1,000 times. I mean, on small screens, big screens. Yesterday at the press meet, when it was again played in the big screen in PVR, it takes your breath away, actually. So it's a definite big screen film, and I hope the film goes on to be a huge, huge hit. But like all my films, I'm going to be.
I just love almost over the way every Prithviraj interview is such a gem to watch because of the way he articulates his thoughts. He's such an intelligent and wise man. I am absolutely always in awe. I always look forward to watching his interviews. Amazing.
detached with the result of it, right? I know that 28th of March this film will release. Either of one scenarios will happen, and 29th of March I'll have to now continue doing my work. There's no point in me thinking, oh my God, the effort I made, the amount of time I gave. No, that's not how cinema works. But unlike other films and unlike other characters, I also know that I'm probably not going to be able to walk away from Najeeb ever.
Yeah. And let's end on a personal note. Every birthday is a fun birthday for most people, but then when a decade change happens,
Yeah.
sometimes there is a bit of self-reflection, introspection, whatever. You recently, turned 40.
Yes.
And what was the churn that happened, if anything happened? Because it's also, I'm asking both professionally and personally, because the thing is, as an actor now, you've got to look at what kind of roles can I do now, and also if anything personal.
So there's this, when you DQ turned 40 recently, right? So for all of us, when you're turning 40, the whole conversation leading up to the birthdays, oh, the big 40, the 40 and all that. It doesn't feel any different from 39.
Right?
It really doesn't. It's just it's just that number. Must have been some grand marketing genius who decided 40th birthday should be special, so spend a lot of money. So I'm not sure, but I think I've said this before. I think I'm at that stage where now I've got the opportunity to really flourish as an actor.
Right.
Because I also think I'm at that point in my career where I can do an Aadujeevitham, I can do a Bade Miyan Chote Miyan, I can do a Sarazameen and a Vilayat Buddha the same year. That wouldn't have been possible at 25. And that will definitely not be possible at 55.
Right.
So I think this is a really nice time to be an actor. And I'm so happy that at this time, when I've hit that phase, Malayalam cinema and Indian cinema in general is doing so well.
Yeah. I mean, that's great, because once, I think this is a great in-between phase, because it's like I don't know, yes, with makeup technology and all, you can play Najeeb at any age and all that.
Yeah.
But there is also a certain mental maturity that
Absolutely,
you probably, your age must have helped you to get into that character. So all the best for Aadujeevitham.
Thank you so much.
And it was great talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
GT Holidays, South India's number.
Amazing. Let me stop this. I think the interview speaks for itself. The interview just speaks for itself. So well articulated. So many things that I have, because I have intentionally stayed away from knowing any anecdotes of the book, of Najeeb's life, only and only whatever I have read, like the summary short snippet of the comments that you have written, that okay, this is based on this particular person and so happened with him, and that's the only context I have. In this interview, I got more context of how the film is going to pan out, and I am really, really looking forward to this film. Like it's and I really like the fact when he said that I stand to benefit from all these hits that Malayalam industry, film industry has given so far. Brahma Yoga, Manjumal Boys, Premalu. And I would also like to add Anveshipin Kantadam because I recently watched the film and I quite enjoyed watching this film because I did not expect the movie to be having two distinct halves, like two distinct stories in both first half and second half. I was not anticipating that. So that was an interesting watch for me as well. And so he completely, I love the fact that he completely acknowledges the fact that, you know, all these movies doing well is going to benefit me only because now there was X level of excitement for Aadujeevitham. Now there is X plus, you know, 100 or, you know, 100x, not even X plus 100. Now there's like 100x excitement for the same film. So, I mean, he's just taking that, you know, on his stride. So, and the fact that he's thanking all these films, that okay, that's great, and I'm glad that these films did so well. So there's more excitement for Aadujeevitham, which is kind of true. And with all of these conversations that I always see of Prithviraj, you kind of understand his far-sightedness, and that's why I always feel he's one of the most intelligent uh, actors, not just actors, he's not just an actor, one of the most intelligent uh, filmmakers and one of the most intelligent personalities, celebrities in the film industry space that we have at this moment. Because, you know, not everybody is a visionary. There are people who are great directors, there are people who are great actors, people who are great technicians, but it takes a different kind of mindset to envision something and to stick to that vision and to be so determined that I am going to be that change uh, in this particular industry and I am going to bring about that change. And it's like what I do and what I'm thinking is going to be a game changer in my industry or in Malayalam cinema or in when I talk about Prithviraj, obviously Malayalam cinema, but I'm just saying that's the far-sightedness he has. So yeah, he's different that way. So yeah, I really enjoyed this interview, and you guys can let me know your thoughts, your favorite part from this particular interview, and what all you took away from it. And that's it, guys. That was the reaction. Those were my thoughts, and I'm gonna sign off now from this video, and I will see you soon on my next one. Bye.